Hello and welcome to Mindset Change Series. Today we are going to discuss what are barriers to personal growth. Barriers to personal growth. Almost everyone we meet these days is seeking ways to improve and become or evolve, or simply put, to become a better person. Self-growth and self-help industry has almost soared to a popularity as fast as diet and the fitness industry, which means personal growth is becoming more and more important in people's life. However, with the challenges of our everyday life, developing business or a career, raising a family, or growing into a meaningful relationship and staying healthy is becoming a daunting task. We all agree. It shouldn't therefore be a surprise then to know that personal growth, like everything else in life, comes with a cost. And it's the cost that most people try to avoid. Deciding what kind of a person you want to be or you aspire to be, what goals you want to accomplish in your life, there's need for clarity and be sure of what you want to do. And also a willingness to look carefully and honestly at yourself and the courage and commitment to make changes. Because if you really want to grow or to develop personally, surely you have to make changes along the way to make sure that you achieve your goal. Some of us believe that our personal growth has been undermined by circumstances or of other people. We tend to most of that look at external reasons that things haven't been worked out or become discouraged when we're facing obstacles. We might not be ready to look carefully at ourselves for a true explanations as to why things aren't going our way. Take a full responsibility for things which happen to us is a lot to ask. There's a tendency to look outside for reasons why we have not achieved. And this is more tempting. And we're able to give a litany of excuses why we have not achieved what we're supposed to achieve. Although we cannot deny it, there are external forces that slow us down or put us off track. Personal successes. However, there are some issues within ourselves which most of the times retards us from making meaningful progress. There are so many of them, and we may not be able to exhaust all of them. However, in this session, I just want to share a few. The first is fear. It may sound obvious that fear would be a number one on the list of many people, whether they experience or don't experience it, but that's it. We may rationalize reluctance to make changes by interpreting a lot of excuses as valid reasons. But honestly speaking, all those excuses we're making come out of fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being respected by other people, fear of being ridiculed by other people, that he wanted to try this and he has failed about it. That's the fear of failure. Therefore, we need to take an inventory or a self-examination of what type of person we want to be. And what excuses, if I'm giving excuses, are they really valid excuses? Or is something that we assume? So it's better that we realize what fears are driving us. The second point is denial. Others may have suggested that to you that you need to change, but you are not hearing it. You prefer living in your own world, which may be fiction, despite what people are saying, or many of those who are close to you, what they are saying. But you tend to be within that comfort zone. This is one type of denial. Of course, it may come due to various reasons, our background and whatever, how we have been brought up. But personal growth will not be possible if we are not willing to make changes. Pride is another thing. Of course, it's not wrong to be proud of oneself. Many after you have accomplished something. However, when someone has an opinion of his importance to you, which sometimes may be a bit more important, but you feel that you are superior to them, then Christ has crept in. This, unfortunately, it will make you to have a closed mind. And this closed mind will prevent growth. Because if we want to grow, then we need to keep an open mind to all things that comes our way. And unless we keep that open mind, we'll not be able to judge our own personal goals, whether they are right or whether they are wrong. Sometimes pride also prevents people from being willing to admit that they've made a mistake, thereby learning from their own experiences. Always thinking that you are right on doing things. When your friends gives you an alternative, say, no, that's where I want it to be, and that's where it's going to be. So let's come out of our cocoon. Let's have an open mind to make sure that we achieve what we're supposed to achieve in life. Now, pride comes with defensiveness. Being overly defensive is a signal to others that you are insecure. Unfortunately, most of us will be able to do this unknowingly. But we should know that being defensive or overly defensive is a sign of being insecure. What it means is that you have more concern on guarding yourself against real or imagined criticisms. There are some criticisms that are just imagined. Now, once you just imagine that, oh, whatever I say, people will criticize it, you are trying to be over defensive. And this, just as we said in when we were discussing about pride, you are basically creating your own prison. You have built walls around yourself where now nobody is willing to come in and assist you, even if they know that you are going the wrong way. But because you think you're always right, then people just leave you and say, well, now you get your own prison at the end of the day. The other thing is not taking responsibility. Blaming others for our own mistakes or blaming circumstances for our own mistakes. Now, life is a journey. And this journey is actually you who is going to walk through that journey and no one else. So we should stop blaming others for all the circumstances that have. Of course, I'm not denying there are some things which happens because of other circumstances. That's very true. But it's not everything that we can blame on other people for our own failures. Most of all, avoiding responsibility. We should understand that the people who have experienced growth or personal development have actually taken their own hit. They have gone through a lot to reach where they are. And because they took responsibility of their own destiny, they're able to be where they are. Blaming others for your misfortunes will only create unnecessary conflicts. Because you see everyone as an enemy. Just the same as being defensive. You see everyone as an enemy of progress on your part. While there are some people who actually come in and say, well, we're supposed to assist you in this way and that way. And when there's a mistake, you take responsibility of the mistake and you move on. In that way, being humble, because that's what we call being humble. Now, once people hear that you are humble enough to accept criticism, even if it's so painful, they are more than willing to come forward and assist you. When all is said and done, you may have good goals, you may be motivated, you may be what, but if you lack self-discipline, that's another disaster. And according to the dictionary, if you look at the discipline, definition of discipline, it's actually doing the right thing at the right time. It's not everything that you plan that will happen the way it's supposed to happen. Those that believe, or Christians, they all say God has a purpose for every circumstance. He's never late, he's never too early. Now, that basically is the issue of discipline. Each time will take place at its right time. Yes, you may have a lot of ideas, good ideas, brilliant ideas. But if there's lack of self-discipline, surely nothing will happen. At the end of the day, you'll be disappointed of yourself. You'll resign, you start blaming others, and all those things. All those that have actually reached the top, they have been willing to climb. And the climbing, those that have actually done mountain hiking, they will tell you that there's a lot of discipline that is needed along the way. Otherwise, you'll not reach the top. Then there's the issue of lack of motivation. Most of the time when we talk about motivation, there's this question that we need to answer. What do you want that you want? Or what do you want that you really cannot live without? That's a motivation. Why we work every day, day in, day out, is because we want shelter. We can't live without shelter. We need food. We can't live without food. We need clothing. We can't live without clothing. That's a motivation. That's why every day we go out and work. So if you are designing personal goals, there should be a motivation why you are doing what you are doing. It's not just an issue of survival. For example, if you want to join in politics, what is motivating you to join in politics? Is it to save others? Is it to get rich? Is it? So there should be a reason, a motivation why you want to go into it. We should remember that it's very easy to say something than to do it. But until we understand why we're doing something, it is very unlikely that we're going to accomplish whatever we want to accomplish. Being clear motivated then creates a powerful force or drive that can propel us to achieve something we want. Lack of goals. It's also another thing. Some of us, or most of us, we move like water. We just flow, let it flow as it is. No, we should have goals, and those goals should be realistic goals, not just goals for sake of having goals in life. No, they should be realistic goals, those that you can achieve based on your skills. Lewis Carroll once said this: if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. What he meant was, if you don't have goals, anything that people say, you think it's a brilliant idea. Yes, but it's not all brilliant ideas that fits you. Maybe because of lack of skill, or maybe you don't have resources, or something else. So we need to have goals which are realistic. You need to know what you want in life and map a clear course to get it. One of the things that we need to learn and create is having a list, a to-dos list. Because unless you have that, it's very easy for you to forget. That's why the issue of discipline comes into play. Now, when we are setting those goals, start small. Don't start big. One time I was actually giving a talk on small business management. And when there was a group discussion concerning what capital do you need, the figures that were being mentioned were alarming. But you say, okay, do you have skills to handle such type of money? Find the people don't have those skills. They have a skill to have something small. So the best one, start small and building on those skills as you learn the tactics of whatever you're doing. That's why your goals needs to be realistic. The other thing that we need to look at is the negative attitude on everything. There are some people who are negative on everything. This type of skepticism is not healthy for personal development. That's why in some of my presentations, I've just said, please surround yourself with people who have a positive attitude. Because if you just surround yourself with people who are negative, you also see everything negative. Even the best thing that has happened in your life, you also see it negatively. Now, that negative attitude is not healthy because it creates in you that there are very few options for you to work on. And that's coming from the prison you have created yourself. The defensiveness, the pride, the order of lack of motivation. So we need to make sure that out of any tragedy, there will still be an opportunity coming in. That's having a positive attitude towards the environment. We should know that the also negative attitude drains your inspirations and you are all stuck because you don't see a future in anything that you are doing. You don't feel a life. So the best is let's create or start learning, having a healthy attitude that will open up our options. An open-minded type of person where you get a lot of ideas and you filter them to fit your personal goals and your personal skills. Then the other thing is lack of support, which can basically follow up a negative issue. If we surround ourselves with negative people, sure, we're lacking support somewhere. So we need to surround ourselves with people who are positive, because that's a support for you. You bring an idea, they should be able to add a value. So our networks, in other words, should be a network which adds value on our personal goals. Don't be in a network just for sake of being in a network. No, be in a network which is going to add value on your personal goal. Now, once you surround yourself with people who are positive, the likelihood of you achieving a personal goal is very high, and the opposite is true. Of course, sometimes maybe because of circumstances, you may not have a personal support within your environment. Navigate out of that environment and find someone who can give you support. That means now you are empowering yourself. That empowering mechanisms. Learn a skill. Discover other skills that you have. Have a model in your life. All those things are going to act as a support system within you. And we should bear in mind that people that have achieved great things in life, they have actually support that is good and great people around them. If not, they've created a positive mindset on themselves, which is sometimes called the growth mindset, which have an entrepreneurial type of thinking. That whatever people see brings something to them. Last that I would like to tackle on this is that Any personal development comes with a cost, as I mentioned earlier. And this cost is what is called sacrifice. Are we able to sacrifice our time? Are we able to sacrifice our pleasure? Are we able to sacrifice some, even friendship itself, for our personal growth? Unless we're willing to sacrifice time, resources, personal growth is a far-reaching dream. Just recall when you're going through the secondary school, your motivation was to achieve a school certificate. When you're in college, your motivation was to achieve a degree. But look what happens in the school life a lot. What made you to go through? It's because you sacrificed a few things along the way. So success is never an accident. It's an accumulation of hard work, motivation, self-discipline, and a support system, either externally or within yourself. And most of all, without creating your own prison or creating an open mind where you can get ideas and make sure that those ideas are filtered towards your goal, which goals are supposed to be realistic, that can be achievable. You can measure them and with a time frame. Because you can have very good goals, but if you don't have a time frame, you will not achieve it. It will be a plan on the paper. Thank you very much for your attention. See you in the next episode.